St. Johns County is reviewing a rezoning proposal that could bring much needed workplace housing into the area. I feel like I'm yawning on this already.
Yeah, we've done so many of these.
Seriously, like what else could we comment on this? The proposal seeks to rezone a 3.94 acre property at the intersection of King Street Extension and North Clay Street from residential single family to workforce housing, allowing the development of 17 single-family homes, 6 of which will be designated as workplace housing units. The county's planning and zoning agency has already given its unanimous approval, and now the proposal heads to the Board of County Commissioners for review on Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Yeah, today is Tuesday. The plan aligns with the county's comprehensive plan, which prioritizes efficient land use and balanced growth. Workforce housing is designed to moderate income earners and including teachers, firefighters, law enforcement officers, and people who obviously don't get paid enough for saving ourselves. So there you go. The rezoning proposal remains under review with public hearings providing residents an opportunity to voice their opinions, blah, blah, blah. Anything you need to highlight or accent on this by chance?
We'll just see if it actually happens. There's so many of these that are like, I'm going to call it workforce housing and then charge like $900,000 a door.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a get around to try and get people to approve their project, but we'll see if it actually happens.
Well, I know that Habitat has done some incredible, projects,
I mean, those types of housings are, I mean, I wouldn't call those workforce. I mean, those are,
that's really it's changing the game, which explains that 30% of the homes in the new Cypress Village development must be sold under $267,000 or less, cannot be resold for at least 2 years. So that's kind of like the Habitat kind of, they set that guideline, but it allows people to kind of grow into that perspective. I know in my neighborhood, they have Volusia Woods is kind of like a similar setup right there. And honestly, I love my new neighbors. They're awesome. And everyone's it's just kind of folding in. They're tinier homes, but they're giving people opportunities out there.
Well, and it's giving them a chance to be homeowners.
Yeah.
And I know the SHIP program, you have to be there for like 5 years and they'll help you with your down payment if you're a first-time homeowner. I mean, there's some programs out there if you really want to say, okay, I want to own a home and you focus on it, you can make it happen. I know, there's a lot of, it's the worst time ever. But you know what? There's really never a bad time to buy real estate. Really isn't.
Right, that's true. Definitely. But can I ask you, would you rather see more of this kind of development with an organization like Habitat? Or do you want to see developers kind of mirror some of the services that Habitat does?
I want to have them balanced.
Okay.
So I think the problem is how we get out of skewed is we have so much of the other inventory and we don't have enough of this inventory.
Right.
It needs to be a little more balanced. So that to me stabilizes our market a little bit better. And it keeps people that, are lower income that think I can never buy a home. It gives them the opportunity to buy a home for their next home. They'll have equity in this one. And that's how, honestly, like people bust on me about being this real estate guy and stuff like that. But I mean, I bought my first house when I was like 22 or 23.
Smart.
And that was my entire focus from like when I graduated college to, okay, I got to buy a house.
How long did you stay in that first house?
I stayed in that first house quite a while. I stayed in it up until I was 33.
Yeah.
It's almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
I'm afraid to leave mine just because it's I'm like, I really hit it at the right time. You know what I mean? And that's just how some people are.
Well, and I used the equity in this first house to buy my second house.
True.
And by the time I sold
that's the question,
that house,
then.
I bought my third house and my fourth house with that same equity.
So first-time owners out there, they're going to sell their first house and use that equity for a second one. Is that true? Can they do that this day and age?
Oh, yeah, you can do that.
You can get something solid nowadays?
You're allowed to make up to $250,000 without having to pay anything in capital gains.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a heck of a down payment.
Yeah, true.
So,
true. You could possibly have the same exact mortgage.
And I try and tell people if you can't put down 20%, really, on these first ones, all you got to really do is come up with 5.
Yeah.
As long as you have a stable job. Yeah. But if you're buying your second and third homes and stuff like that, you should be able to put down 20%.
Yeah. It's a lot out there and it's very overwhelming. So
it really is challenging because the prices are so skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious because I do know that Habitat is trying to fill a lot of the houses that they've built already at Volusia Woods. So I find that interesting. Are these
people
still
qualifying.
affordable? Are people not qualifying to get some of those houses?
Part of the problem is you know, and this is not a bust on any generation or anything like that, but my generation, you had a job and you stuck with that job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dad too.
More millennial generation
years,
is they bounce from job to job, which is
I'm like a hussy out there. I know.
Financially, it usually
every 4 years.
Financially, it usually moves you forward faster than staying with one job. But the problem is if you're looking for a loan or something like that, they're looking for stability.
Right. Yeah.
And
I'm an artist. It doesn't go very far.
Yeah. You know, some of those independent millennials aren't showing the steady income that, you know, I was able to buy my first house because I was working for the government. I had a steady job and I'd worked since I was 15 years old. I could prove employment.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the millennials are like, okay, I'm going to work and then I'm going to take a month off and just live life. And
that's how Europeans do it.
It's not a bad way to live.
They have 4 weeks of vacation out there.
I'm not busting on them in any way, shape, or form.
No, but like, how do they do it?
But then they come back to a different job.
Yeah.
So they're not attached to a job. And, you know, as a bank or somebody who's giving you money, you want to make sure they have a steady stream constantly.
Right. Yeah. So, you're loud and clear. So there's workforce housing. Interesting. That's fueling the fire out there. How do you feel, Rick? Is that just something that you and your buddies hang out?
Troy can vouch for this. We've been here long enough to see it go from 0 to the million it's at right now. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm in the middle of, if you can't afford it, then I mean, our prices have gone up so high where a lot of people that have grown up here can't afford to live here, whether they have a job for their whole life or not.
Right.
So half of me is like, you can't afford it, move west or move somewhere different, and part of me is like, we'll bring in some options for people that want to be here that can. So I'm like with Troy, just spread it out a little bit, make it even.
Yeah.
And,
good balance.
Yeah, a little balance. But yeah, I've learned with the millennial thing of I've got an LLC in my name and I haven't had the same job for over a year or two. But because of that LLC, I've had business history with the IRS for over 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's all how you set yourself up, because you can flip flop and do a lot of different things if you have that umbrella over your head. But yeah, if you're working for Advanced Auto Parts and then going to Walmart and then going over here, there's it's tough.
Yeah. Definitely. Banana Republic, Tiffany, Gap. I mean, I just
But I'm one of these guys and gals. I love my city, no matter if it's expensive or there's traffic or what. Like,
I love it. Right.
Like, if you've gone to any other countries or cities in America, it's crowded, it's busy, it's inconvenient. We're very lucky to have.
We are so honestly,
So
preach, brother.
Preach. And the three of us that we do have in common, even though we're different generations and stuff, is the three of us aren't afraid to hustle.
No,
and I've never just had one job. Like, we joke about like all the jobs and stuff like that, but I've never just had one job.
No,
you can't pay the bills, get another job.
Right. Yeah. Figure it out. Make T-shirts, David. Okay.
And that's where I struggle with these groups that are like, they work 40 hours a week and they think, oh, I can pay the bill.
Everybody has a creative.
I've never been able to pay the bills at 40.
Right.
I mean, I've had some great jobs, but I've never been able to pay where I wanted to be or my goals where I needed to be was 40 hours.
Right.
I can't imagine just working 40
me
hours.
And my brother watched my mom raise us by herself, so it wasn't just a job. It was always like, all right, snacks are in the pantry. I'll be back then. Like, we've always watched her hustle. So we were washing cars and lemonade stands, and we sold Pogs, if you remember what those were back then.
I do remember Pogs.
Yeah, we were hustlers.
Jeez, I love it. Yeah.
You could do this back in the day. Walk a lawnmower around your neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
$10.
All my LuLaRoe ladies out there, they were hustling some dresses on the internet back about 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's a good point. You got to have a good work ethic if you want things. If you don't, here's another thing I like to talk to my friends about. Everyone can't be a boss and a CEO and run everything. We need a lot of people that just show up for 40 hours and go home.
Yeah.
So
true story.
Yeah, we need soldiers.
We do. And they're just as important as the people at the top. So
I think the frustration though is being seen and being heard. And I think in those kind of jobs that you are just in that mundane clock in, clock out, that they're not seen and they're not heard.
Just another number. And if you literally could not show up today and it wouldn't matter.